Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about the physics of karma. Now, we all must have heard this word karma a lot many times. We even might have used it a lot many times. And generally, most of the times, it is used in the context of what gets thrown out comes back. What you sow, so shall you reap. It's also used in the context of being labeled as the good or the bad karmas. So what then is this karma? Originally, it means doing, an action coming from the word karm. Karm, which means action. So if we can understand the physics of it, in my understanding, it probably, very likely, would translate into the Newton's third law of motion, which states that every action has equal and opposite reaction or reaction. And if we can look at the word reaction, we would actually come to understand that it's the same action that is being played out again and again and again and again till another action is taken, till we probably choose to undo that particular action and probably take another action. And that would also have its own equal and opposite reaction or reaction associated with it. And it is over here that I would like to paraphrase yet another quote from Einstein, which kind of went like this, that foolishness or stupidity is about doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting different outcomes. And unless we change the habit of doing that thing over and over and over again, but with the expectation of expecting different outcomes, we will keep sowing and reaping the same thing over and over and over again. And if karma or karm or action is about doing and undoing, and probably redoing also, it then may be understood in a different context. It may be understood that we can break certain or we can change certain karmic patterns, that we can change our karmas, that we can change the chain lineage of those karmas also. We can course correct or change the balance sheet of our karmas, which invariably entails that we look at all of the engagements, all of the associations, all of the investments, not only with regards to our money, but with regards to our time, our energies, ourselves, that we have done in the past, that have led to a certain resultant balance sheet as of today. And then trying to take a decision and then trying to make a choice about the kind of investments that we want to invest in, which of course entails that we look at our actions which were backed by our thoughts and our feelings. To even understand that these are all interconnected and cannot necessarily be looked at in different compartments and segments. To even understanding that we humans are quite contagious. And I'm not necessarily speaking in derogatory terms. I'm not pulling us down by saying that we are contagious. But I'm actually saying that we do impact and influence each other. In fact, we even extend our DNAs into another. Somebody embodies the imprinting of our DNA, and we have imprinted or gotten somebody else's DNA, which has long been carried forward and backwards too. And those probably we can call as inherited karmas. To even understanding that even our creation is a resultant of two people's karmas. Interactive sex. It's an action that has taken place between two people, or at least most of the times. And like I said, that if we humans are pretty contagious, we even pass our conjunctivitis to somebody else. We even pass our sneeze and our coughs to somebody else. We even transmit and pass our energies to somebody else. Somebody else even absorbs our energies. We are also doing the same thing at the same time. So the effect of doing and redoing is then just not limited to us, but it even extends beyond us. And if it extends beyond us, how do we balance out the credit and the debit side of the karmic sheet? How do we even cut out some of the imbalances or dysfunctionalities as a resultant of the repeated karmic loops? Well, it sounds very simple, but is not that easy to implement when it really comes to taking actions, because it entails a change in the thought process, because it entails a change in the actions as a resultant of those thought processes. It is about looking at the same thing through a different lens. It is also about walking in a different direction, in a direction that we have probably not walked on before, trying to begin to think in ways like we have never thought of earlier. So to begin with, let's take up a simple example over here. The best example of undoing the karma and probably creating another karmic cycle can best be exemplified through the movie PK. Now that's one movie that comes into my head, but there can be many more movies who've tried to do the same thing in a subtler manner, in a different manner. So as I rethought about the movie, I began to realize that it was a story about this girl who had fallen in love with somebody else, who was not approved of by her family, who was not approved of by her religious community. And the community was not a small community. It had its own dogmas and beliefs. It had its own habituated patterns of thinking, which it had gotten accustomed to, which the members of that community had started to wear as their own personal clothing, as their own personal beliefs. So when this girl Jagu meets this man PK, every of her belief, each of her beliefs is questioned by this man, and not in a threatening way, but in a very curious, compassionate way, just trying to understand something that he saw in a different light altogether. So we can take one scene from this movie wherein this girl follows this man into the jail to get a story for herself. And of course, story is formed out of informations that we gather over time. And here she walks into the police station, bribes the policeman to get her story, to capture her story. And if we can move ourselves to look at the same scene through another lens, we would understand that she was actually following her guru, her teacher, her mentor, into the cell, into a smaller space, not bribing the inspector, but probably paying the right fees to learn her lessons through that guru who was sitting in a cell. The guru was probably sitting in a small cell because the world outside did not recognize him. The world outside failed to see the way he saw the world. The world outside was not willing to give up their own mentally constructed beliefs, to be able to get curious about them in the first place. And when she starts interacting with this person, of course, in the beginning, she is triggered like everybody else. And she tries to walk out. And as soon as she does that, she hears him say, well, if you do not want to believe what I am saying, if you're not even curious to hear what I'm saying, you can keep doing what you have always done. You'll probably keep doing what you are doing today, what you are expected to do, to report a story of a dog. Tomorrow, you'll do the same story with something else, and that may just become the story of your life. Once she gets that message, she comes back to her guru once again in the small jail cell. And if we can look at the same narration from a different lens, if we can create a different narrative for the same thing, we'll be able to understand that somewhere it was also trying to tell us that probably in a small jail cell, You're getting a chance to meet your guru. You're getting a chance to become curious and compassionate, to question everything that you've been doing up till now, and to question why have you been doing what you have been doing up till now. Do you want to keep doing the same thing that you have been doing up till now? And somewhere probably it was also trying to tell us that she probably got a chance to be more open-hearted, more open-minded, more open-brained within the walls of the cell, rather than the time when she walked out of it thinking that she was free. Because probably when she walked out thinking that she was free, she was still encaged in the belief systems that she had carried with her for so long. The belief systems that had been imprinted upon her. The belief systems that she had picked up, that she had learned while she was growing up, while she was interacting with people around her, who were thinking the same things that everyone else was thinking. And at this moment, I'm reminded of yet another quote. When everybody is thinking alike, actually nobody is thinking. And we can find such examples of people who have broken certain karmic, habituated, conditioned patterns. Be it Mangal Pandey, who refused to bite the cartilage when everybody else was doing it, no matter the cost, for standing up for his own beliefs, his own personal beliefs. Some similar kind of examples have been set by people like Rosa Parks, by people like Rani Lakshmibai, by people like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, by people like Martin Luther King, by people like Nelson Mandela. These and many more have been the people who had decided to reroute their own routes, to be able to walk their own path and probably balance out the karmas that had been playing, the actions and the reactions that had been playing up till now, to create yet another kind of karmic cycle, to balance out the other side of the karmic balance sheet. And like it was shown in the movie, let's just try and think about it. Had she not met her guru, had she not followed this guru called PK, had she not engaged with him, she would have kept doing the same thing that she had been doing, to the extent that probably her relationship with her dad would probably never have been repaired, that she would probably not meet the person that she was in love with, that she had been in love with, that probably had she not done it, tons of people later would not have started questioning, is it the right number or the wrong number? Is it my number or is it somebody else's number that I've just been dialing? Because everybody is dialing that number. And of course, if everybody is dialing the same number, we are going to get a similar response. And COVID, to a certain extent, I believe, was that instrument that helped us balance out our karmic sheets of the way we had been doing things, of the way we had been functioning in the world for so long that it asked us to stop, to slow down, to course correct, to recourse ourselves. And once we choose to recourse, since we are social species, since we are interactive species on some level, the ripple effects of our doings cannot just be limited to us. We invariably start to recourse every other person that we interact with, or at least a few of them. And some may still choose to walk the path that they have always walked, while some may choose to recourse themselves, to balance out their own personal and interpersonal karmas, their own personal and even interpersonal and intergenerational karmas. Because once we start to do that for ourselves, within ourselves, it obviously gets passed on to the next generation. Somebody else quite obviously catches it because we are quite contagious as human beings. So let's try and understand karmas not through the lenses that everyone else has provided us, but also through the physics or the physical laws of karma. Because just like on our laptops, if we have a place to redo things, we also have a place to undo things. Which is here I can recollect yet another quote. The highest form of learning can probably be unlearning a few of those things. And not unlearning without an inquiry, not unlearning without a reason, unlearning with curiosity, unlearning with discernment to understand how helpful something has been for us and how unhelpful something has been for us, how healthy something has been for us, and maybe with overusage it has become unhealthy. And that can be a cumulative effect of our actions, thoughts, and feelings. So let's try and reflect on the physics of karma, the physics of karma and action, which is based on equal and opposite reaction, to be able to then make a discerning choice with regards to the actions we need to redo and undo. Let's try and think about that a little more. Let's try and work on that a little more. And I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contents of my videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.